Interlude. A castle lay asleep. A kingdom lay asleep. The people, horses, mice, and even fountains and gnats lay asleep. A hush lay over everything, and all seemed sweet and peaceful at first. Beautiful, ancient-looking brambles protected the sleepers within, and occasionally bloomed pink, honey-scented roses. There were only two groups of things that didn't sleep. One was the dead. The other was a trio of concerned-looking fairies who flitted around the castle and watched over the sleepers, especially the royal princess. Aurora lay perfectly, beautifully, hands clasped below her ribs like she was in constant prayer. Her lips were parted, her eyes rolled. Something was happening in what was supposed to be a dreamless, swift sleep. Collapsed in an ungainly heap on the floor next to her was Prince Philip, the one who was supposed to wake her up and end the whole thing. Instead, the silly boy had fallen asleep himself, the first hint that the fairies had that something was terribly amiss. And then the people had started dying. Flora, the fairy watching over Aurora, had a worried, weary hand to her head. Her strange, flowing vestments of red drifted sadly around her like mist rather than cloth. Her face appeared mostly human, except up close. There was a strange serenity behind all of her normal-seeming emotions. Her companions, a plump little pixie in blue, and a hamadryad in green, floated in from their rounds. "All's quiet," Merryweather, the one in blue, said. "I mean, they're all still asleep, so of course they're quiet." "She's doing it again." Flora pointed at Aurora's face. For a split second the beautiful princess's features twisted up in agony or upset. They recomposed themselves almost immediately. Fauna, the one in green, moaned in despair. "Oh, I cannot believe this is happening! We were supposed to save the princess and everyone, not just hand her over to Maleficent. We're sure they're all in there." "Sadly, yes." "How did she ever plan all this?" Merryweather demanded. "I don't think she planned it," Flora said, sighing. "I think she just took advantage of the situation. I think she always had sort of a backup plan in case she was ever killed." "If I'm ever killed, I want you to resurrect me," Merryweather said with a humph. "If she actually had friends, she could have done the same." "Be kind," Fauna admonished her, swooshing back and forth in the air. "If she actually had friends, maybe she wouldn't have turned out so nasty and evil. And besides," she added reluctantly, "if she actually had friends, we'd be in worse trouble now." "Worse? How could it be worse? We can't wake up anyone here, not with the spell, not with Foxglove, not with the holy water." "We have not ruled out everything," Flora snapped. "We haven't tried everything." "True. Have you tried kissing anyone yet?" Merryweather added archly. Flora gave her a withering look. A horrible piercing cry rang out through the castle. "Oh no! Not another one!" Fauna cried in alarm. Immediately the three fairies sprang into red, blue, and green balls of light and went whisking through the air, will-o'-the-wisps on a mission. They shrieked through the bailey, the courtyard, the bedrooms, and the chapel, until they found the source of the scream. Lady Astrid asleep at her needlework, her face a mask of horror and fear. The three balls quickly resolved into human-sized figures who gathered her up in their arms. Fauna kept the woman's head upright. Merryweather grabbed a cloak and crumpled it up to try and prevent what would come next. Flora regarded the dreamer with a critical eye. All seemed fine at first, and then thick, dark blood began to soak the lady's gown, over where her heart was. Merryweather immediately pushed the cloak onto the wound, pressing it down with her hands as hard as she could. Fauna closed her eyes and invoked the healing power of the woods, an ancient, usually infallible incantation. Flora drew symbols in the air with her naked ring finger, trailing gold behind it in a strange three-dimensional rune. It was no use. Lady Astrid screamed and screamed and screamed. She was somehow aware, despite the strange half-life she lived between dream and sleep, that her death was coming, and it was unavoidable. Her cries were of pain and fear and anger and horror and everything terrible the fairies had never felt themselves, in human quantities. The blood gained faster until it was gushing through the cloth like a fountain, heaving with each pump of the heart. And then the heart stopped. The silence of the sleeping castle was complete and utter once more. Merryweather dropped the bloody rags in sadness that disguised itself as disgust. Silver tears formed in Fauna's eyes as she stroked the dead woman's hair back up under her wimple. Flora clenched her fists in frustration. "Damn that Maleficent," she swore, using the worst human phrase she could think of. "She's worse than she ever could have imagined. She's a murdering, life-draining soul leech." "And why these two?" Merryweather added philosophically. "This one seems harmless, and really, that peasant was quite literally a nobody." He's a nice man, but a strange choice.
Well, Fauna said softly, both are equally dead now, noble or not. And Maleficent has bought herself another hour.
Only 2 more before her hold of a rose becomes complete, Merryweather added. I mean, Aurora. We have to try again, Flora insisted. I felt like we actually did something that time, that we reached her a little.
It's all we can do, Fauna agreed. So let's try it again.
The 3 fairies held hands and closed their eyes, preparing to dream a fairy dream.